Alright. And we're live. Son of a... Looks like my commands aren't working again. Or, well no, they might just not be working any alerts. Not alerts, the, timers. You know what? I'm just going to deactivate those for now, and I'll fix them for tonight's stream. Alright. How we all doing? We're all doing great. Today we're painting... painting a Sicaran. So originally I was gonna really get going on Monday, but, I was feeling absolutely terrible. I don't know how well this camera angle is going to work, but it looks pretty good, so we'll just kind of roll with it. Yeah, so I've made some pretty significant progress considering that I started by completely blacking this thing out and starting over. We've got all the metallics done, and then the black cleaned up again, and I should say the metallics base coating done. We've not done the highlights, or even the deeper shade. Is that? Yeah, there's some bit of crap on it. Alright. So yeah, I've been feeling like crap for the last few days. Starting to feel better today, so we're back in it. Yeah, there's just so much... I get that I'm in a basement, so it's like there's lint and stuff, but jeez. Yeah, so what I'm thinking is we're going to put Nuln Oil on the metal that has more texture going on. And it already is darkened a little bit because I airbrushed it all with Nuln Oil after the cleanup so that all the black was back to this. I don't know how well you can actually see it. Let me try zooming in more. Matting out the black by airbrushing Nuln Oil over it. It really smooths it out, mats it out. I really like it. The hard part is that cleanup can be horrible if you're consistently cleaning up somewhere that's going to be visible. But so all the metal is darkened already, but there's stuff that has a lot of like texture, like the treads, all these gun parts, the piping here. So we're gonna Nuln Oil all the steel of that first. Then I think I'm going to start doing the edge highlighting for the black armor plating, which is probably going to be like the entire stream, honestly. I'm probably not even going to finish it in this stream. But, go forward from there. After that will probably be the highlighting for all the bronze, then the highlighting for all the steel, and then effects. Like there's little lights on spawn soon pieces, and there's some lights on the front. I'm gonna give those a glow very similar to what I did on the Storm Raven. And then something with the barrel, something in here and along here to kind of show, you know, power running through there. I have thought of, and I'm not sure if maybe it's a little late for it, maybe, or I suppose maybe I could just start with this, actually painting these rings right here bronze to add more breakup. And it's kind of similar to what I've got with the last cannons, which all the spawn soon weapons are done, by the way. I'm gonna pop them over here. All the well, not all the spawn soon weapons. I haven't done heavy bolters because I'm not playing it with heavy bolters in the upcoming tournaments, so I haven't painted those. But top heavy bolter, which goes up here, it's a magnet there, and the spawn soon's already magnetized, top and bottom. So I just pop these off and pop them in. I have them still on here, so I can what do you call it? Seal them. I'm just gonna say seal them. Hit them with storm shield. Seal them in on here because I just figured it'd be easier. But yeah, something akin to what I did on here. Pop it on here. I think that would help break up all the stuff a bit more. So I might actually start with that, and then I can. It's separate enough from the rest of it that I feel like I can reasonably null oil it without impacting the rest more so. So yeah, yeah, I'm gonna do that first. I think that will actually look really good. So this is going to be a bit of an experiment in camera angles. Let's see how this works. I think this is okay. Just not that you can really see my face particularly well because of the camera arm, but you know, soon I'm hoping I'll be able to get an external USB camera that's a lot more head-on. Probably goes right underneath where the arm for the phone cam. I think that'll work a lot better. That's what I always intended. Just I haven't been able to get one yet. I guess I know they're cheap. Just no, it is what it is. All right, so. And we'll pop this up a little bit here. It's sitting against my hair. Yeah, I'm already liking this. This feels correct. My gut likes it. It likes it. Only big downside of painting vehicles is that there's no real way you can put this on a handle realistically, unless you had something specifically made to deal with this, because like a big thick dowel rod or something that you like mount into the bottom of it or something ridiculous like that is the only way I can imagine that really working. I don't think glue will do it. So realistically, you're kind of stuck holding the thing, and it's kind of awkward and weird. Like, I guess I could just put this down. Find an angle that it sits at for now. Alright, I'm a fool. Totally forgot to post in the post that we're live in the Discord group, which we have a Discord group. for this Discord server. Unfortunately, my... Actually... Do commands in general work? They do. They just don't work in, they don't work in timers. Go figure. Well, inside the link tree is a link to the, Discord. Alright, moving on. Normally at the start of every stream, I post in there that we're going live. Yeah, I gotta pick this up and hold it. I don't know what I'm trying to do here. At this point, I'm just gonna start rambling about stuff going on with me. That's all I got right now. So I've been playing again the sequel, probably my favorite game of all time. My favorite game of all time being Sword of the Stars. It's not because it's critically good, just because it has gameplay and lore that really hits all my buttons, like, just right. Sword of Stars 1 was released back in 2006 or 7. It's a 4X sci-fi strategy game that is a hybrid of turn-based empire management and real-time 3D space fleet combat. Actually has a lot of nuance in all of that. A lot of nuance involved. And yeah, I just fell in love with it. I've probably put 5,000 or 6,000 hours into the first game over the last... yeah, I got it not vastly after it came out, so... Wow, long time. Like, 15 years I've been playing that game, off and on. But anyway, the sequel, originally subtitled Lords of Winter, and then its expansion, End of Flesh, which, by the way, this game has some of the best subtitles on its title. Like, the DLCs for the first game were Born of Blood, Murder of Crows. Wasn't there another one? Oh, it was the something shipyard thing. It just added a bunch of, like, weapons and technology. Named after something or another. But anyway. The second game, Lords of Winter, and then End of Flesh. Which was called End of Flesh because it added an AI faction. And I mean, like, in the Lord's AI, like, you can play as it, but, yeah. It's supposed to be AI. Because that was kind of a thing in both games, is that you could research AI, and then there was a chance that you could have an AI rebellion, and there was tech to deal with that, too. And you could either then eradicate it, or like, enslave it again, like, re-enslave the AI. Which is a pretty cool idea. In the second game, I think you could get full-on revolts in your own people. I just don't... Like, I know it can happen in the second one. I just don't remember if it can happen in the first one. There's also, like, plague weapons and stuff that you can use, including a zombie plague. So just to have your enemies, like, deal with literally zombie infestations on their planets, which is pretty funny. I really wish there was... Like, I've heard that in theory there is some way, but it's really hard to get a game. Of playing... I've never been able to play it against other people. And I love the idea of, trolling them with weapons like that. Like, yeah, alright. Here's some zombies to deal with. And just, shoot a missile at one of their planets to just give some zombie plague outbreak. Hilarious. It's also, like, no small investment either to do that troll. It's, like, way up the plague weapon tech tree. And then you have to build a ship specifically to deliver the missiles, and then successfully deliver the missiles to the surface of the planet, while it has all kinds of planetary defenses on top of whatever fleets are there. So, like, it's not building a ship, it's building, like, a whole fleet and, like, several missile ships to hope that, like, one gets there, and that they haven't already researched the cure. Because if they research the cure, then, like, you're gonna do a little bit of damage, but it's gonna be stamped out pretty quick. Which, that's why if you're doing that and you don't want to just blast them from space, you want to do it quickly, assault shuttles are just better. Which is another ship that just delivers a whole bunch of, like, ground attack craft. So anyway, I've gone on, like, a huge tangent. Where was I? What was the original point? Or, like, I'm trying to backtrack all the way to where I was. Anyway, so the second game. It was pushed out by the publisher, like, forced to release way before it was ready. Like, way before it was ready. Like, it was maybe 2/3 done. So for the next, like, couple years, the developer continued to, like, put out patches for it, but it never got completely finished, and it was left in a fairly broken state. But still, over time, it kind of became semi-stable, and I eventually got a setup that had seemed fairly stable. Like, it would only crash occasionally, and then I would just restart the game and then reload up my save, and then it was fine. And it automatically has autosave at several points in the turn, so it's not too bad. Like, you're not gonna lose a whole lot of progress, even if you haven't manually saved in forever, or ever, for that matter. It's more just when you get into the later game and your empire gets pretty, like, large and complex, it's more like remembering all the stuff you did is the problem. Not actually doing it. Doing stuff does not take a lot of time at all. Yeah. So yeah, I was getting into a pretty good game, was nearly 200 turns in, which is, like, a good, like, I don't know, 12 hours. These are like civilization games too, by the way. These are not like you sit down and like knock out a match. Like, no, you're playing this for weeks. But I hit a point where I stumbled upon one of the other factions, Capital World, as another faction was also hitting it, which explained why their raiding on my northern frontier just stopped all of a sudden. And I was able to push back. Granted, I had just released a new generation of ships, so they were doing all kinds of damage. So I stumble into their capital world, and I'm like, oh, nice, another faction hitting at the same time. It's going to be easy. And then, like, oh yeah, by the way, like, the potential of, like, three-way combat, which is rare but awesome when it happens. It's just absolute madness. And, I can't get it to load into the combat. It loads in everything except the visual never leaves the loading screen. And every time I load up the save, it just does the same thing. I think what I'm going to try to do next time I have some time to play, which I'm not really sure when I will be, actually. I think Friday, maybe. Try setting it to auto resolve, which may work, may not work. But I won't be able to manually do the combat. Which is actually fine, because it's what's called an invasion. Like, I invaded it. So my fleet actually sits there for, I think, 10 turns total. And just at the end of every turn, I go into combat, trying to wipe out the enemy forces in the system. So it's more like my fleet might do a little bit of damage, but I'm not expecting any casualties, because it's all really large ships for the moment in the grand scope of the game. Like, it's my main combat fleet. Like, I've already invaded like 6 different systems with this fleet, so I'm not expecting any casualties. That's fine. It's just whether or not the game will actually, like, force itself onto the next turn and load anything else correctly is the question. So I can actually continue this game. Because, man, nearly 200 turns in. I'd like to keep playing. I don't want to start over. I suppose another option is I could go back a couple turns and just wait to invade their capital system. Because it might just be some weird combination of stuff happening at that system exactly. Who knows? And there is a couple different mods that theoretically fix Sword of the Stars too. It's just the main one, I can't figure out how to actually install it. Like, this forum thread. There's actually on their official forum for the game, they allowed a thread that's dedicated to this main mod that supposedly fixes a lot of the stuff and rebalances stuff. It's so dense now after like a decade that I can't for the life of me figure out how to even install the friggin' mod. I can't find the instructions. It's just, at least like the very beginning of the thread, like, kind of treats it as if you already understand how to install mods on games where, like, it's not part of the Steam market. But, like, the mod's not on Steam. You have to download and then throw it somewhere in the files, but I don't know where, so. Who knows? No idea. But it's been a lot of fun. I love that game. I probably talk about that game for the entire stream solid. I need more weapon bronze. This is all like leftovers and it's not spreading very well. So for reference, I am using Army Painter Weapon Bronze for all this stuff. I think when you do it, when you apply it properly and you do a few coats so it's actually opaque, it has a very nice sheen on it. And then darkens pretty cool too. When you wash it. It's this like grungy old metal look I really like. Yeah, I'm actually gonna go back. Now that I got fresh stuff, I'm gonna go back and real quick do the previous areas. They're definitely complete. Because the only downside is that it's fairly transparent as far as metallic paints go. So it does need a few coats to get it right. This is a really funky track. And might not do the entire inside of the ring down there, because man, that's hard to reach with any efficacy. Even hard to do while keeping the camera involved. Doesn't help also that a lot of this print came out, like this is actual Forge World resin, but a lot of this print came out really rough. Sometimes literally, so sometimes the paint just doesn't want to spread very easily because it's not actually flat. Yeah, this is gonna look cool. I like this. It's gonna be the tough part, is I want the inside edges to be bronze, but I want the actual, like, what looks like the barrel structure itself to remain steel. I gotta try to get in there and do that without hitting the bottom more than the actual corner. Which normally wouldn't be a big deal, it's just it's so awkward to like hold and handle this thing. Yeah, see, I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, I already hit some of the steel on the sides, so it's gonna be fun to fix. It looks very shiny right now. That's... And it looks a little off because of that, but that's just until I null oil it. I'll darken it down. First, though, I need it, all the base coat to be exactly how I want it. Which means I also have to go back and fix all of the steel that I messed up. Okay, I think that's all the bronze. Now to clean up the steel edges, and then we'll non-oil it. And we'll go back to where I started, about to non-oil by brush. The textured steel parts that needs, you know, standard shading, basically. Oh, I just dropped my brush. Ugh, son of a... Ugh. Ugh. Alright, now the fun part. Getting in here. Alright. Yeah. It's gonna be very bright for a minute, but actually I do need the light this bright. See the specifics part that I'm doing. Okay, most of the problem parts were on the outside. Okay. All right. Alright, so airbrush, which pardon me. I want to try to get this done quick, so I'm gonna mute for a couple minutes. And just like that, we're done. Alright. See how cool that barrel looks now? That looks amazing, actually. That's really cool. Alright. So, oil. Back over here. This whole space that way. So I've noticed that there's two completely different ways of using Nuln Oil to darken stuff, and one is via the airbrush, which gives you this very even matte, or, you know, as even as you apply it anyway. It can be extremely even matting. And then for standard shading that gives you texture, you kind of have to use a brush to achieve that. That's what I'm doing now on the large steel stuff that has any kind of texture involved. It's like these have the bolts and the hinges. And I'm probably gonna make a second pass on the tracks with Agrax and be very like all over the place with that as well, to simulate them being like stained dirty / semi-rusty. You know, just like tarnished, basically. Maidenless even. And I don't know what that is and why that's there, but okay. I do wonder if I shouldn't have made some of the other bits of this barrel bronze as well. The more I think about it, the more I want to make other parts of it bronze. Like, the other ones that come to mind is the ring here, which I guess the bolts being bronze is good enough. Maybe the ridges in the back. Maybe these side pieces. I don't know. I just feel like there needs to be like another layer of what in up with this track. Really wish I could remove tracks from the playlist entirely. I can only add to my own playlist, but if I use the other one. Yeah, anyway. What's with these pings? I have a bunch of pings on Discord all of a sudden. Is there anything I actually need to care about? I don't think so. Okay, it's nothing. Anyway. Hydration. Got water nearby? Drink some. If you don't, go get some. Alright. So do I want to make more of the barrel bronze? I'm thinking these ridges would look very cool on bronze. Maybe I'll come back to that. I'm gonna think on it. I wasn't getting like super creative over the last couple days because I felt bad, but I was like trying to make progress on it where I could, and I was like, well, I know all this stuff needs to be metal, and like little bits of it, like these coupling pieces, and you know, I got an idea for the bolts, which I'll explain in a second. Or like as much creativity as I could pull off at the time. So I deal with the bolts, and there's actually some I missed, but I might keep them what they are. Is that the large ones are colored bronze, as to indicate there's some kind of technology of like active magnetized bolts or something like that. That's all the big ones, and the small ones will be standard silver, steel, whatever. Let's get this. Probably like the inside of these things. Actually, yeah, actually just like the whole thing in like a standard shading. It's really like airbrushing non-oil. It just for stuff that is in black, which black becomes matte and balanced. Stuff that is in black, it just color shifts it dark. It doesn't add any actual like shading in the sense that we want to make shadows darker. Shading doesn't do any of that. So we have to apply that like manually. Fortunately, a lot of this is supposed to be fairly screwed up and like dirty-ish, kinda. Gotta get rid of a lot of the excess. I want that to remain fairly matte and standardized. While the inside here, I want that to be black as possible. That's supposed to be just a hole. There we go. Okay, this track is very pretty, but like, dear God. I want to empty this brush and then empty this brush and empty my magazine into this skip button. It's too mellow. Okay, this is cool. And for reference, I have the music playing for me much louder than I have it playing for you guys. In fact, at least it's something for me to listen to when I'm not talking, and something to cover at least some of my voice, so I don't have to hear myself as much. If I don't want to. Getting sticky as it dries. Alright, I think that bit's done. camera so I can see what you guys are seeing here. Oh, and we're back. So I got worried there. Connection just dropped all of a sudden. It's weird. Nothing was going on my internet. Just, I mean, before I started streaming, OBS was having a hard time connecting to my Twitch account for some unknown reason. Don't know if that had something to do with it. You know what? When I think about it, I don't have a problem with the steel getting darkened this much. This is a Raven Guard tank, but being dark is probably like the metal being dark is probably a feature. Sweet. A bunch of that has to dry. Some of it will take a while to dry. That note. I'm still thinking about this barrel. I think I want to make more of a bronze. It looks so good. I think, yeah, more of it needs to be bronze. I'm just trying to figure out what. I am thinking I want these side bits. Like the panel, the inner panel, keep that steel. This will be like glow effect, all the inner round stuff, I think. But this should be bronze. I was trying to figure out if I want this single ring with the bolts on it bronze, or if I want all the ridges bronze, or okay, we're gonna make I'm just gonna start painting. I'm just gonna start painting. That's what I'm gonna do. Just... Also, yes, I go through a lot of non oil using these techniques. If anyone was wondering. Like I picked this one up. Prior to show exactly how much is actually in here. I picked this one up like a month ago. It's just the airbrush just eats it. That's fine, because I like the results. Unless I make, this coupling piece, larger one bronze. No, no. I think okay. So like I think there's a theory that needs to be maintained through this, and that is the normal aspects of this construction should be steel. The ones that look esoteric, if that makes sense, esoteric will be the ones that are bronze, or whatever this is by the time it's like darkened and whatever, dirty bronze, whatever. So ones that are not used in conventional construction. How can I have you guys like seeing what I'm doing right now? That work better? Sure. I'll zoom this in a bit. Or a bit more, I should say. Anyway. Ugh.
to your drum. And I'm blinded by the sunshine in your eyes. Not thinking twice, am I this dumb? Although I know you're all I want. How could I crave something so bad? My sweaty palms reveal a warning I should hear. But I don't care, you drive me mad. I'll ignore the truth and run to you. So we could drive away. You'll hear me say everything is gonna be okay. I don't need nobody else. Obsessed with you, try to stop me, but I'm under your spell. Can't help myself. You know too well I need you close. Can't help myself. Try to stop me, but I'm under your spell. Can't help myself. And suddenly I'm by your side. 'Cause I'm out of things to explain how I feel. It's better to enjoy the ride. I feel at home, never alone. My friends are asking me if I have left the planet 'cause I seem high all the time. They think I'm in a film noir, but my impression is that I'm in heaven. So we could drive away. You'll hear me say everything is gonna be okay. I don't need nobody else. Obsessed with you, try to stop me, but I'm under your spell. Can't help myself. You know too well I need you close. Can't help myself. Try to stop me, but I'm under your spell. Can't help myself. Try to stop me, but I'm under your spell. Can't help myself. Did someone put something in my drink? The world is spinning in my head. When you hold me, it feels so soothing. You're like a story
Yeah, I have no idea how to get you guys an angle of
can't help myself.
the bottom of this thing. I don't even know if I need to. I think the whole thing perfect. Oh, the other side is even harder. It's so close to the hull. This thing with the weird stops is really getting annoying, actually. So funnily enough, I named the stream how many bolts does this thing have? So I thought I'd be highlighting bolts. Then I decided on doing the armor trim. Instead, we have spent the entire stream just painting accents on this barrel. It's not the worst ever. Kind of funny. This is gonna be interesting. Bloody wire gang in my way. I need more paint in a second. This reminds me of the intro to Bad Romance. Oh, not Bad Romance. Poker Face. The other one. Not sure if it's from Bad Model Prep before the first round of painting I did on this thing years ago. And Bad Model Prep because I was still a rookie when I painted this the first time. Or what? But this whole model is not only pretty rough from the print, but there's a lot of like hair like painted in. Like lint. I'm cleaning up quite a bit of it over the whole process of this thing. My brush just hit something on the way down. What did it hit? Did it leave anything? I don't think it did. Oof. Okay. The cables, we still want them silver. At this point, probably. I'm gonna add... No, this is when it's getting a little bright. Comparisons on the camera. Okay. Still very shiny, but... I'm gonna refresh the bronze on these bolts that are definitely gonna end up getting hit by the null oil. Okay, we're gonna clean up some of the steel, like we did last time. And a little bit of the black too, actually. I'll do the black first, because it's already paint ready to go. I thought I saw some earlier. I messed up. Guess not. Okay. Never mind. Straight to the steel. Which will need some new steel paint. This is actually just lead belcher. I do have Garmin painter, but I had so much backlog of lead belcher stocked up because of reasons. I decided I would just try to use up all of that first, or permanently making a transition to using army painter for the time being. Till something better comes along. Here's what I haven't decided. When I do the glow effect on the barrel, which granted is probably gonna be till tomorrow at minimum, am I going to fill in the entire surface there white and throw in glow effect on that? Probably ink. Oh, I missed some of the bronze. Oh, and we're back. Sure, we'll try this one. Okay, steel. Okay. I'll pull out the airbrush again, or I could just wait to do that after the stream, because it's only in 20 minutes, so I can start working on something else. No, and one that's shown. Alright, I'm gonna mute for a minute here. We're gonna pop up here again. Alright, I'm having some of the weirdest tech issues. Anyway, um, this looks awesome. Oh, my camera is actually not connected at all. What is even happening today? There we go. Jeez. Weird. Anyway. Alright, so now this is darkened. This looks absolutely awesome. Anyway. This is very... still very whited out. Oh. Okay. Well, that's a little closer to real. Anyway, it's still kind of weird for the camera. I don't know. It's not giving quite the same metallic sheen as I got. But anyway, that looks awesome. I think that looks really good. Anyway, camera is being weird. It's not giving me quite the... Camera's not giving it quite a realistic depiction, but I still think fairly good. At least the color scheme is looking right. So, yeah, I guess it'll be tonight's stream where we properly begin working on the black trim. Will be next, I think. I might have some time to start on that before the stream. Though realistically, if I have time to paint, I'm probably just gonna get all the bronze stuff highlighted first, because I might be able to do that entirely off cam. We'll see. I do have to cook dinner for the family tonight, and eat, and I've got 4 hours between the streams, so we'll roughly... Oh, and I got dishes. Dishes I might push till tomorrow, because I don't really have much of anything except painting tomorrow. So yeah, I'll probably just do the bronze. I try to do the bronze before the next stream, which is at 8 p.m. Eastern, so in 4 hours, 12 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I'll start a little now, because I still got a good 10 minutes or so before the stream ends, but that'll be my hope to start the next stream with the bronze zone, and then begin working on the black? Maybe I'll do the melt, I don't know. I'm all over the place. I don't know why I bother trying to plan. My brain wants to plan, but I almost never hold to it anyway. At least I just have a general direction, or I know all the options in front of me, kind of deal. Also, hydrate. If you got water, drink some. If you don't, go get some. Gotta keep hydrated. Alright. Here's the real question. How am I going to angle this so this makes sense? I'll just hold it weird. It's only for 10 minutes anyway. Man, this brush has been fraying a lot all of a sudden. Not liking this track. Better. That's already starting to look fairly good. Alright, well, I'm realizing that a lot of this, I need to have such precision that I need to bring it right up to my face. So, I'm gonna stop there. Alright, it's the afternoon stream. I will be back in 4 hours for another 2-hour stream from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern. If you want to continue following the progression of this piece and see it finished by Friday, it's got to be done by Friday because I need the weekend to work on our last touches before the tournament Sunday. So, but yeah, if you want to see this thing finish and how I'm going to do the barrel and everything else, then be sure to follow here or subscribe to the YouTube channel, as all the VODs end up there as well. All the links can be found in the Linktree link in the chat, or just throw into the chat exclamation point links. Yeah. Sorry, just dropping a little bit here. Yeah, and have a good one. See you all next time.